Aisha Okoro stared at the elegant digital invitation glowing on her phone, its animated gold leaf design shimmering with exclusivity. This wasn't her usual scene. Her world revolved around blueprints and urban planning, transforming Lagos skylines with innovative, sustainable designs that blended tradition with audacious modernity. But tonight was her birthday, a rare indulgence insisted upon by her husband Liam at Azure Heights, a restaurant known as much for its impossible reservations as its exquisite cuisine. They had secured a prime table for two, under the name Okoro Vance, for 6:40 p.m. A celebration, simple and profound. As they arrived, the vibrant hum of the restaurant embraced them, a symphony of affluence and ambition. The hostess, Brenda Sterling, a young woman with a perfectly coiffed blonde ponytail and an air of detached politeness, greeted them. "Good evening. Name for the reservation?" "Okoro Vance," Aisha replied, her smile radiant and genuine. Brenda tapped at her tablet, her brow furrowing slightly as she scanned the digital list. "Okoro Vance. I'm not seeing it here." She glanced up, her eyes lingering for a beat longer than necessary on Aisha, taking in her dark, rich skin, before flicking with a hint of confusion towards Liam, who stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her lower back. His fair complexion and blue eyes seemed to momentarily throw Brenda off balance before she recovered her professional veneer. "Perhaps under Vance?" Liam offered, his voice smooth and calm, a subtle undercurrent of protectiveness in his tone. Another series of rapid taps, a slight shake of Brenda's head. "Still nothing. Are you sure you have a reservation tonight, sir? For this evening?" Brenda's voice had subtly hardened, a dismissive edge creeping in. Aisha pulled out her phone. "Yes, I have the confirmation right here. For two, at 6:40 p.m. She patiently turned the screen towards Brenda, displaying the reservation details, including the confirmation number and the specific table requested. Brenda glanced at it, then quickly looked away, a nervous twitch playing at the corner of her lips. She avoided eye contact with Aisha. "It appears to be a system error, madam," she chirped, a little too brightly. "We are fully booked this evening, with a very tight seating schedule. We literally don't have a single empty table. Perhaps you could try to join us another night." Her gaze drifted pointedly towards the bustling dining room, as if to emphasize the lack of space. A cold, familiar knot formed in Aisha's stomach. She knew this stance. The subtle shift in demeanor, the dismissive wave of the hand, the sudden error that disproportionately affected people who looked like her. It wasn't the first time she had encountered such thinly veiled prejudice in supposedly elite spaces, even in her own beloved Lagos. Her dignity, however, was a shield, unshakable. "We confirmed this reservation last week, Brenda," Aisha stated, her voice calm, though her heart pounded a rhythm of quiet fury. "We even received a reminder this morning, and I clearly see several empty tables near the window." She gestured subtly. Just then, Mr. Arthur Finch, the general manager, a man whose tailored suit seemed perpetually one size too small for his inflated ego, glided over, a predator observing his prey. He'd clearly been observing the exchange, a smug expression already forming on his face. "Is there a problem, Brenda?" he asked, his tone dripping with a condescension aimed solely at Aisha and Liam. "Just a slight reservation issue, Mr. Finch," Brenda chirped, clearly relieved by his arrival. "The Okoro Vance party doesn't appear on our system. I've told them we're fully booked." Mr. Finch's gaze swept over Aisha, dismissive and cold, lingering on her vibrant traditional prints before shifting with a hint of irritation towards Liam. "I apologize, madam. As you can see, we are at capacity. Perhaps you could try a walk-in at a less busy establishment?" He offered a patronizing smile, gesturing vaguely towards the door with a perfectly manicured hand. His eyes, however, seemed to betray a flicker of triumph, as if he had just successfully cleared a prime spot for a different, more desirable guest he personally favored. Aisha felt the burning humiliation spread through her, a deep-seated frustration. She saw the glances from other patrons, some pitying, some subtly judging. This wasn't just about a table. It was about being seen, being acknowledged, being respected for who she was, for her professional standing, for her very humanity. And in this moment, they were trying to erase her. Liam, sensing her distress, squeezed her hand, his silent support a balm. "Mr. Finch," Liam began, his voice still low, but with an underlying steel that made Brenda flinch. "My wife, Dr. Aisha Okoro Vance, has a confirmed reservation. Our name is on the list. Perhaps you should check more thoroughly before making such unfounded assumptions." Finch scoffed, an impatient flick of his wrist. "With all due respect, sir, our system is infallible. There's no Okoro Vance here, and certainly no Dr. Aisha Okoro Vance. We had a last-minute cancellation for a very important patron, and we simply don't have space for walk-ins attempting to sneak in." He began to turn away, a dismissive wave of his hand. "Now, if you'll excuse us, we have actual patrons waiting." That was the line. Aisha felt a surge of cold resolve. She pulled out her phone again, not to show the confirmation, but to make a quick, decisive call. "Liam, my love," she said, her voice clear, resonating through the suddenly quieter lobby, drawing every eye. "Could you meet me out front? It seems Azure Heights prefers to make their own guest list." "I'm afraid our evening here is quite finished." Outside, the Lagos night was alive, a symphony of distant traffic and the gentle hum of generators, but the tension from Azure Heights still clung to Aisha. Just as she and Liam stepped onto the curb, the sleek, custom-painted black Tesla, Moon, DOS, its lines impossibly fluid, pulled up silently to meet them. Its deep finish shimmered under the streetlights. Mr. Finch, who had followed them out, clearly intending to ensure their complete departure, scowled even more deeply at the sight of the expensive vehicle. "Sir, you cannot park that vehicle here," Finch barked, gesturing furiously at the luxurious car. "This is a fire lane! Move it immediately, or it will be towed! This isn't a public parking lot for oversized showpieces!" Liam simply smiled, a slow, knowing smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. He opened the passenger door for Aisha, allowing her to slide gracefully into the plush leather interior. "Oh, I think it will be fine, Mr. Finch. It's only going to be here for a moment. Just long enough for a phone call." "A moment too long," Finch sputtered, his face reddening. "This is an exclusive establishment, not a public parking lot for just any vehicle. Some people just don't understand decorum or the rules of a high-end establishment." He cast another pointed, disdainful glance at Aisha. Liam's eyes narrowed, the serene blue now flint-hard. "Decorum, Mr. Finch. Is that what you call erasing a confirmed reservation from your guest list? Is that what you call humiliating a respected individual on her birthday, in front of a full restaurant? Is that what you call denying a black woman her rightful place, simply because she doesn't fit your preconceived notions of who belongs?" Finch puffed out his chest, attempting to regain control. "I call it managing a full house. Mistakes happen. You and your partner simply weren't on the list. This is completely out of line." Liam took a deliberate step closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper, yet it somehow carried more weight than Finch's entire bluster. "Mr. Finch, you seem to be operating under a fundamental misunderstanding. My wife, Dr. Aisha Okoro Vance, has a confirmed reservation. A confirmed, paid reservation that your system conveniently erased. And her presence here tonight was not merely as a partner, but as a stakeholder." He pulled out his own phone, not to show a confirmation, but to make a quick, precise call. "Yes, Mr. Adebayo?" "Good. I'm standing outside Azure Heights. We have a slight personnel issue. Mr. Arthur Finch, the general manager, appears to have unilaterally decided to erase my wife's reservation. Please confirm for him exactly who you report to. And then, please initiate termination protocols. Effective immediately." Finch's face went from indignant red to a sickly pale white. Brenda, standing a few feet back, gasped audibly, her hand flying to her mouth. "Mr. Adebayo? The chief executive officer of the Vance Hospitality Group? The entire group that owned Azure Heights and dozens of other high-end establishments across the continent? What are you talking about?" Finch stammered, his eyes wide with dawning horror, looking like a man who had just seen a ghost. His entire world was crumbling around him. Liam slowly tucked his phone into his pocket, his gaze unwavering. I am talking about the fact that you, Mr. Finch, just tried to remove the wife of the man who owns this entire building, the land it sits on, and the hospitality group that employs you. You see, when I acquired the Vance Hospitality Group 2 years ago, Azure Heights was part of the portfolio. My motivation for buying the group, in part, was to ensure that discriminatory practices in such exclusive establishments ceased to exist. And Dr. Aisha Okoro Vance is not just my wife. She's also a significant minority shareholder in that group, a testament to her invaluable input in its strategic vision. Her name was not erased by a system error, Mr. Finch. It was erased by your blatant, inexcusable prejudice and your attempt to make space for someone else you deemed more worthy. We have digital logs of every reservation, and her name, until very recently, was clearly there. The air crackled with the weight of Liam's words. Finch, a man whose identity was inextricably linked to his status and the exclusivity of his restaurant, crumpled visibly. The sudden, brutal reality of his blunder, of his prejudiced actions backfiring on such a colossal scale, was crushing him. He stammered, attempting to form an excuse, but no words would come. Just then, Mr. Adebayo, a portly man in a sharp, dark suit, rushed out of the restaurant looking distraught and profusely apologetic. He had clearly been on the other end of Liam's call. Mr. Vance, Dr. Aisha Okoro, Vance, my deepest, sincerest apologies. Mr. Finch's actions are completely unacceptable. He was out of line. I cannot express how truly sorry I am that you experienced this in one of our establishments. He turned to Finch, his voice dropping to a furious, clipped whisper that carried a chilling finality. Get out of my sight, Arthur. Your access has been revoked. Immediately. Effective as of this moment. Finch, utterly defeated, stumbled away, a broken man, his tailored suit now seeming to hang loosely on his defeated frame. Brenda, the hostess, dissolved into quiet sobs, muttering apologies over and over. Liam turned to Mr. Adebayo, his expression firm. Mr. Adebayo, my wife and I will still be dining tonight. At the best table, of course. And I expect every single member of your staff, from the valets to the sous chefs, to be thoroughly retrained on matters of inclusion, respect, and fundamental human dignity. This was not just about a table, Mr. Adebayo. It was about whether an establishment values its patrons based on their character and their confirmed reservation, or on the color of their skin and a manager's baseless assumptions. And frankly, the latter is not just morally bankrupt. It's a failing business model we cannot tolerate. Aisha looked at Liam, her eyes brimming with a love that transcended words. He didn't need to shout, didn't need to make a scene. His power was in his quiet, resolute action, driven by an unconditional love that saw her worth even when others tried to diminish it. It was a love that had stood strong against subtle biases and overt prejudices throughout their relationship. From that night forward, Azure Heights underwent a profound transformation, not just in its management, but in its very ethos. Diversity and inclusion became not just buzzwords, but foundational pillars, championed by Mr. Adebayo under Liam and Aisha's direct oversight. Training sessions on unconscious bias and inclusive customer service became mandatory, led by experts, including Aisha herself. The restaurant became a beacon, a place where everyone, regardless of background, was treated with unwavering respect, a true reflection of the vibrant, diverse city it inhabited. Aisha and Liam, always a powerful couple, emerged from this incident not just as a billionaire and his brilliant wife, but as undeniable symbols of change. Their story resonated far beyond the confines of Azure Heights, inspiring discussions and policy shifts in other establishments across Nigeria and even beyond. It was a testament to their unwavering love and a clear message that true power isn't about what you own, but about how you use it to uplift, to protect, and to fight for what is right. Their union, a blend of cultures and backgrounds, became a powerful example of unity against prejudice. As the city lights twinkled outside the glass walls of Azure Heights, now a temple of true inclusivity, Aisha and Liam sat across from each other, their hands intertwined. Their conversation was soft, filled with the comfortable familiarity of shared history and a deep, enduring love. They had turned a moment of profound disrespect into a catalyst for profound, systemic change. This wasn't just a victory for Aisha. It was a blueprint for a better future. A future where dignity was not just a right, but a lived reality for all. It's the courage to stand beside dignity, even when they're told they don't belong.